This video is going to be a quick reference guide to avoid striping or mottling. Now, I'm going to be using throughout the video the neutralizer or the anti-static gun, which is greatly going to be helping out with the way that metallics land and fall on the panel itself. I never really been using it until I went to SEMA 2024 and learned a lot of great information on how it could be really beneficial. Now, if you're not using extra slow reducer, especially in a hotter climate, then it's not going to help you with that paint going on nice and smooth. We've got slow and we've got extra slow. If you're in a Florida or any hot humidity environment, the extra slow is going to help you out. We're using here the special edition, the Screaming Eagle DV1. Look how beautiful this gun is. This is the newest edition they have out, and I like it because it sprays at a low pressure. We're in around 17 psi. Now we're going to dive right into it. We're only applying 2 coats on this vehicle. We've got a new fender replacement, and I like to paint the parts on the car just to ensure that it's going to match. This is the way I do it, but you can still get the same result off the car. Now, when you're spraying this base coat, this is a solvent-based base coat, you got to spray it wet. A lot of you folks at home, maybe even in professional environments, you're not spraying the base coat on wet enough. I want you to watch how I'm spraying. I'm spraying at a low PSI, and again, this gun is going to take out a lot of the hard work. It's a DV1, atomizes perfectly at a low pressure, but do you see how wet that is? Now, I don't want you guys to spray it to the point where it's running, but it's what we call a medium wet coat. And a medium wet coat is you'll be able to see the reflection slightly, and of course the camera is going to make it reflect a little bit more than it does in person. But if you don't spray it wet, think about this. If you're spraying it dry, or let's say spraying it scared, it's going to leave spots that are gritty, spots that are rough, and that is how Mottle or sand piling or streaking is achieved when you're spraying it dry and not using the correct reducers and the correct pressure. There's a lot of variables that really go into this whole painting thing, and if you don't got them all right when you have a tough color, it's gonna show you that you don't have a nice finish. You can see here after the first coat, it's nice and flashed off. I was watching my Candyman videos, and you know, water-based just flashes off so much nicer. But I'm really trying everything with solvent to get a good, clean finish. So I'm using the anti-static gun again. Can you believe they tell you to use it in between every single coat, even clear coat? Now that's something I didn't do in this video, but I did use it in between every single coat. And your first coat is coverage, and on my second coat, I'm going to work on really getting everything to blend out. Now, funny story here, this is NH885M, a troublesome color that we always have to tint. I was mixing 28 ounces, and I overmixed on one of the grayish, milkyish primers, and it wanted to remix it and recalculate it at 50 ounces. I said, well, let's just use this as a ground coat and see what it looks like. Can you believe it that my mismix actually turned out to be a very good match? That doesn't happen too much, but when it does, we are not going to complain. On the second coat here, I'm slowing it down just a touch. I'm not changing my air pressure. By slowing it down just a touch, we're putting a little bit more paint on, but I've also increased my distance to, let's say, an inch more. So I'm around 6 inches from the panel, maybe 7, whereas in the first coat I was maybe at around 5. And this is really going to help with the orientation of the metallic to land nice and smooth. But I'm telling you, if you do not have the correct reducer, you're not going to stand a chance. When this goes on wet, and the wetter it goes on, folks, it is going to dry smoother. Let me say it again. The wetter that your base coat goes on, and I'm not telling you run it, the smoother it will dry. When it goes on wet, don't freak out. It's going to look mottled just like this. It will look patchy, but if you've done it well, you can see how it's dried here. It looks good. Now, what about this area here at the end of my blend? A lot of you folks are new to painting. What is that going to look like after clear? You don't know. Some of you think it's just going to look exactly the same. And these are things that a pro painter or someone that's been painting for a long time, we know the end result. Here at the end of the blend, you can see that we still have that dry sand and clear coat. We're going to be using some blending additive. And I didn't need this, but I want to show you that you can tell what it's going to look like before you clear coat it. So we're going to use this just as a guide, a visual aid to show us, hey, this is what clear coat's going to look like. It's not going to be super shiny when you use this blending additive, but we want to make sure that there's no streaks, there's no funkiness at the end of the blend. I will tell you, if the end of your blend feels rough, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna see the blend. All right, here we can see just a little bit of the edge of where that clear base was, but when a clear coat goes on it, it's gonna completely clear it up. But getting back to what I was just saying, if you feel the end of your blend with a tack rag, you're gonna see it. So what I like to do is tack it off, and I'm tacking here, and this is as smooth as silk. If you're tacking it and your tack rag is getting caught up at the edge of the blend, I want you to stop. I want you to sand it down with 1000 grit, and I want you to redo it. You can always add about 20% more reducer. We're adding 20% more reducer in Sikkens. That's true for our brand. I'm not sure how well that will carry over into other brands, but if you are using that same trick, let me know. You can see here the line is from the clear base. We can actually see where it was, but I'm going to show you right here. We're going to clear coat it, and we're about 15 minutes after base coat is dried. We're going to clear coat it, and you're going to see that just all goes away. And these are things, as a beginner, you wouldn't know if they're going to go away. So what you would probably do is put some base on to make it all look even. And these are the things I'm teaching you in this video, that there's certain things that the clear coat will clear up, no pun intended, that it will just go over and bring the metallics and the old sanded clear back to life and shine it up. And that's what you need to know. Like, have you ever painted a black car and in base it's super scratchy if you didn't use a sealer, and you're like, wow, that looks horrible, and then you clear coat it and then everything's gone. So these are the things that a beginner painter is going to pick up and learn as you go, that certain colors will look weird, certain colors will look funky, certain colors will look great before clear coat, but the clear coat, obviously, you want to try to get it, you gotta get it perfect before you clear coat it, or else you're redoing the job. Now on the clear coat here, you're gonna find it really tough to get that Series 2 WS400 out of my hands. The atomization of this gun, what I really love about it is that you could spray from a distance of about 4 or 5 inches, and you're gonna get a very fine atomizations right to the panel. Now look how clear and look how smooth that base looks. If you don't have a clear and smooth base like that, your clear coat is not gonna land smooth. It's gonna land gritty. It's going to land rough. It could even land a little bit orange peely if your base coat or your sealer underneath is a little bit orange peely. And these are all things that you're going to hear on YouTube from other YouTube channels. It's all very, very correct. And hearing it from different people, you can really gain a good emphasis on what you need to do. Hey guys, on YouTube, we're pretty much all doing the same thing. And there might be a few different ways that we get to our end result, but if the end result looks good, then it truly doesn't matter how you got there. All that really matters is that you're happy with the job, the customer's happy with the job, and down the road it looks good and it lasts a lifetime. Now this is going to be the first coat only, and we're only going to show you the first coat here because I just want to pick up on a lot of tips and tricks on modeling and striping. I get a lot of questions in my DM, and guess what? That's really how I make my videos. Your questions that you have, the questions that you want to know, your biggest issues that you're having, I want to make a video about them. So if you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments, because I can help you out and make some videos about them. They might not be the longest videos, but they're going to be videos that are going to help you out. And you can see the results here of that mismatch paint, that overpour. Wow, it just doesn't always happen like that. Now, I'm going to show you something outside here in a little bit that I'm finding interesting on the back side of these doors, in between the 2 doors, which I'll show you. But take a look at that clear coat finish. This is 2 coats of clear. This is a basically a no buff job. There might be 1 or 2 nibs, but I'll take those out. Really happy when they come out like this. I think I'm going to be using the neutralizer anti-static gun throughout the process. I only was using it really only on bumpers, but it's going to be here to stay probably most likely for a long time. The next day it's ready to go. You'll notice that it still has great gloss, and we're ready to get this thing completely unmasked and do the true test. Well, what does it look like outside? Believe it or not, sometimes these cars that look better in the booth and outside they won't look as good, and vice versa. I've had cars that are inside of the booth that they don't look good, but I bring them out and you say, wow, it looks good outside. And I don't think the customer is ever going to park their car inside a paint booth at home, so they're not going to have this lighting. But that's just how painting goes. You know, some things look good in different lightings, but I try to base it on how well it looks outside and normal conditions that the customer will have the car. And, you know, there are times that jobs will get redone if they're not up to my satisfaction, and that will happen from time to time. But I'm going to show you guys outside what she looks like, and you let me know what you think. I'm thinking it's looking pretty good. Between the back door and the front door, the robot kind of puts a light spot in all of these Integras. You see it a lot on the lighter colors. You see it on red. It's a little bit of a light spot. And I'm going to show you here in a moment. We have the same exact car right down the street here, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. But just taking a look at the no model situation here, it's truly just amazing what you can do with a little bit of knowledge. A really good gun. And honestly, just watching some YouTube paint videos, no matter who's posting them, you can just learn a whole lot. Go into your garage, go into your paint booth, and just apply the knowledge, see what happens. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it won't. We've all been down that route before when it doesn't work and you're kind of itching your head and just thinking what you could have done better, how you're going to fix it. I mean, again, we've all just been there in that situation. But taking a look at this little light spot here, I wanted to show you. It's at the back of the door, and we're just putting clear on there. And I notice it just barely, ever so slightly on these cars. So I happened to find one just a few cars down that we're working on. So that's the one we were working on, and then this is the same one. You can see that same light spot right below the door handle. But and these types of things, when you're painting, unless you're painting these cars all the time, you won't really know that like this is a defect, a robot defect, machine issue, and you'll try to go and correct it. You'll think it's on you. You might even respray it. I mean, I've even had customers come in and they have a rear bumper that's mismatched, and we're painting the front bumper, and they want to make sure the front bumper is the same mismatch as the rear bumper if they're super picky, and they don't want it to look better or else it will stick out. But I hope this video, guys, helped you, and this is Brian from Paint Society reminding you, don't overthink it. It's just paint. I'll see you guys on the next episode.